it is needed to be spoken. So, in this topic, I'm going to talk about how the world is fooling you and what to do about it. So, I've put together a presentation slideshow that I'm going to use because people like to learn visually, people like to learn structured stuff, and it's better like people hear a lot of things, but people only understand things that are coherent, that are real, that have some truth. So yeah, that's my approach here. Let's see. So let's begin. How the world is fooling you and what to do about it. So this is the current state of the world that I've created in a picture. Tried to capture in a picture. World is your attention and everything else is being captured with all these machines, and you are living in a world that is that one may say that yeah, maybe this is what the total and complete dissociation from the reality looks like. So that's what I tried to capture here. So I've divided this presentation into 5 sections. Let's see how many sections can I cover today. So in the section 1, I have covered the most basic problem according to my understanding, and the problem is how the maladaptive or toxic environment slowly affects your life. So as many people have been noticing, and anybody can see in today's time, there's always some sort of chaos. Year after year there's some sort of war going on, there's some sort of political drama, there's some sort of other type of drama. All sorts of toxicity is in the environment, and this toxicity has generated a pseudo environment. There's a natural environment, natural world, and then there's overlay due to the toxicity, due to the negative effects caused by the people who have like let's talk about political leaders. So political leaders have made this world a like theater play, theatrics. They are doing. I'm not saying all politicians are doing it. I'm saying that this is the approach they have been incorporating in their political career endeavor, whatever you may name it. So this thing has created the whole environment to become toxic. That is maladaptive. So introduction. How the world is fooling you. It is not about blaming people or groups. Let me be very clear and direct here. I'm not doing this to propagate the same stuff that I'm saying that I'm going to expose. But it is important uh, to know the basis. The basis is for the understanding, it's not for the propagation. It is not about pointing fingers and creating chaos and drama. It is about understanding what's actually going on around us so we don't get pulled into confusion or constant reaction. When things are seen for what they are, we are less likely to act on wrong assumptions, follow bad logic, or react in ways that quietly keep the same madness going even when we want it to stop. Yeah, one more thing. I may be dividing this thing into 2 parts because It's really difficult to talk about things for 1 hour, 2 hour, at least for me. So I will keep it half an hour long. Let's see, half an hour, 45 minutes. How much is it going to be? And the second part will be half an hour, 45 minutes once again. So also, what to do about it is not to like there are a lot of people in the world who do virtue signaling, who are constantly creating. First they are causing drama, then they're creating issues with that drama, and then later on they're blaming this to somebody else. I've came across a lot of people, I would say, in past 6 years, such people. First they cause drama, then they like pretend to be some sort of savior and fixer. They are not. They are scamming people, and they are running their whole different cult, or like if you talk about in terms of people from mega maga, we have a lot of other cults, to not to specifically talk toward just one. There's left based cult, there's right wing based cult, there are political cults, there are religious cult, there are even scientific cults, believe it or not. So usually what people do is they virtue signal. They use this type of provocative language to virtue signal. My work is not that. My work is to uh, dismantle this type of thinking. So also what to do about it part is not about disruption either. It's not about outrage, blame, or finding someone's faults. It's about what you can do in your life, how to contribute without burning yourself out, how to act without harming yourself or others. Yeah, because if you see the real world examples, there used to be people, they still are, in fact. Alex Jones is the prime example. There are other examples. What was the name of that person with British accent? I usually forget his name. First he was blaming right wing, now he has become Christian. So all sorts of drama is going on. They will do all these things for attention seeking mostly. So that's not my goal. The goal here is to understand the problem, not to create conflicts and prolong it. Yes. So personal experience, due to this toxicity that got created by a lot of, I would say, ignorant politicians, all sorts of groups. Not to single out any single one, there are many groups. Some are very famous, some are operating openly, some do it covertly in hidden ways, in all sides. I'm not targeting only one side. The formal groups who behave in the same way, the informal groups. So all sorts of madness is there. So not targeting any specific group here. So personal experience what numerous individuals are currently going through quietly. So okay, let me check whether my live stream is on, because sometimes it has it just abruptly stops. Okay, it's going on. Yeah, so personal experience that people are going through, a constant sense that something is always going on. So every year there's something, some drama, some issue, some problem, some war, some alien threats, some this and that, right? People get sucked into all these things every single year. Sometimes Donald Trump is visiting North Korea, something else. So what they are doing is they are capturing your attention, and they are hooking you with this drama and all stuff. So the side effects of all those things on general masses, on general people, is a constant sense that something is always going on. Difficulty staying with one thought or one moment. So they are constantly switching things. It feels like that a lot of things are happening meaninglessly. There's overlapping of events, crazy events, I would say, and people are switching through these events, through these thoughts, but they're never completing these thoughts. Feeling mentally busy even on normal days. So what happens is when everywhere is so much drama. So let's say there's drama on TV, the drama on your neighborhood, there's drama on your personal life, there's drama in your friend circles. So all this drama, what it does, it makes you feel like you never finish thoughts. They're always in the background as a noise, but you're never finishing them. So this is what people usually feel, feeling mentally busy even on normal days. So I remember broad as day when I used to go to school when I was younger. I had zero thoughts, negative thoughts about any political drama, anything. After coming from school to home, and I would do things, usually play, do watch TV, whatever. But there was nothing like this type of drama. Like people, they usually discuss politics. Even when people gather together, they are always discussing some negative thing. So it's not like that. Irritation, tiredness, or heaviness without a clear reason. This is because all this subconscious, unconscious crap that people have this thing running in the back of their mind, in their head. This thing keeps people irritated, frustrated. Like people are frustrated due to some ongoing crisis. What the hell is going on in America? There's some ice, some sort of drama is going on. So these things, people stay irritated, frustrated, they stay tired, some sort of heaviness. There's no specific reason, but people are feeling these type of symptoms. If I talk in terms of my surroundings, so there are these things constantly, some sort of there was an actor who died some years ago, and the whole nation got involved into like it felt like that everybody was consumed by that one thing, and everybody was creating conspiracy theories. Some were playing James Bond, some were playing detective, this and that. So this thing keeps people drained, keeps people annoyed, tired, and this thing causes people to act out in a weird ways. Rest that doesn't fully feel like rest. So because of all these type of, in a way, they are events, physical events, but they don't feel like real events. They feel like generated. I mean, if people who are old enough, they've lived enough, who remember days from the 90s, forget 90s, even before 2010, things were not like this. They were not drama based. Things were real. People used to tackle those things, and they used to like be done with those things and move on with other things. So they used to find solutions instead of getting consumed into drama. Now what people are doing is they're constantly stuck in the drama. So that drama, it keeps people restless, tired, all sorts of things. Pressure to keep up, react, or have an opinion. So people want to keep up with ongoing drama, or they want to give some reaction, or they have some opinion that they want to express, sometimes silently, calmly, sometimes when you see the today's western environment, I would say the people are fighting to just express their opinions. They're fighting over opinions, and this is all permeating right now. It is happening everywhere, not just west. I would not say that uh, we are any better. Everywhere the same thing is going on. Little time left to slow down and reflect. So people are usually busy with all these things. Life feels busy but not always meaningful. So this is the current state of uh, environment, people's feelings, emotions that masses are experiencing in today's time. Some know this, some don't even recognize that this is going on. What makes an environment maladaptive? So let's go to the core of the problem, the root of the problem. The root is maladaptive environment. Like, I would say this plainly that lunatics have taken over the power of the institutions and everything. This is a verifiable fact, and I can show you so many examples. One example is Donald Trump is talking about taking over Greenland. He's talking about taking over Canada. He's talking about uh, he even in fact attacked southern South America country. So all these things, they generate a reaction in people, and people process environment incorrectly due to these unpredictable, unexpected, unrealistic. This, they don't even feel like realistic. When Donald Trump was talking about all that stuff recently, people did not even believe that this is real. So what happens with such weird things happening in the world? People try to cope with such things. So what happens is, if they are doing it out of fear, out of something, so this becomes like chain reaction. This becomes like people start to react in maladaptive ways, ways that are not wholesome, ways that are out of fear, hate, anger, or some other type of distortion. And the correct word is distortion. They react to that distortion rather than to interact with the reality or the environment around them. So, what makes an environment maladaptive? You are rarely left alone to finish a thought. If you look at the news, so many outlets of news, so many views, so many sites, political sites, there are all sorts of madness is going on. And they're all trying to tell you what they think or what their opinion is. Sometimes they use some facts, mix their opinion. So what this end up doing is this causes people to have this fragmented thought pattern where they are following a lot of things, they have experienced a lot of things through internet or through in personal life, but all those thoughts are fragmented. So they're not left alone to like think about all these things from a neutral point of view, because they are already fighting some fight, siding with something. There's all sorts of Some are, and this is common thing, people pick sides. If you go to, like, if you see these teams, football teams, or how you say soccer, people fight over these things. So people pick sides naturally, and this is what is going on under the hood with such people. Even small things feel urgent for no clear reason. So when the environment, like when certain lunatics create a weird environment, this is the outcome. This is how that environment perpetuates, self perpetuate itself. You are expected to respond before you have had time to think. What's important seems to change from day to day. Real rest or mental space is hard to come by. So there has been a lot of overlapping things, one thing after other thing in the past, at least since COVID 2019. It was happening even before, but people have short memories, so they remember things that are recent. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing or good thing, I'm just saying. And things are switching so much, there's all sorts of weirdness going on, and everybody is exposed with these things via internet, through news channels, news outlets, through shorts, through longs, all sorts of video patterns, all sorts of platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, this and that. There's WhatsApp groups, there are Telegram groups, there are all sorts of groups. People are constantly bombarded with these things from all the sides, and this is the issue that is generating, perpetuating this environment. What makes an environment maladaptive? Part 2 continued. When this keeps happening, it gets harder to think clearly. Attention jumps around. Simple, healthy routines start falling apart. This is how everyday life slowly turns maladaptive. So, when so much madness is happening, we are not built to keep up with so many things. If you look at the primordial, or you say ice age people, whatever means, through history, through reading, through video, anything, through documentaries, like people have created documentaries out of by putting things together, imagining, and like that, you will see that people are not built to keep up with all this madness. I'm not saying that it is a bad thing, it is a wrong thing, and people should not do this. I'm saying what is healthy and what is not healthy. People can go to Mars today. I will, let me put it this way. But going to Mars, it's a great idea. It's a very exciting idea, this and that. But would it actually be fruitful for the people? Would it actually be healthier, better? I'm not opposing the idea. I'm just using it as a metaphorical example. So, what reality is very different from what delusion based maladaptive thinking is. So, this maladaptive thinking that is being propagated by the alt right, by the mega groups, and this can be seen in many, many ways, not just this specific context. Reality is not what we imagine. Like people confuse reality with imagination and imagination with reality, and people will fight with their claws and teeth to their death to defend this idea that imagination is greater than reality, and reality is boring, this and that. But the thing is, you don't live in imagination, you live in reality. Also, reality is like there's a healthy way of imagining things, there's a healthy way of integrating imagination, and then there's maladaptive way. So what is going on in today's time, in the time of King Trump and King other all sorts of kings are there. We have a king in our country, there's a king in somebody else's country. At least they think that they are kings, and everybody else is the subject. So this is a delusion based living. So this is what is generating a maladaptive environment. How this impacts people in their everyday lives. Attention keeps getting pulled into different directions. It's harder to stay present with simple things. Quiet moments feel uncomfortable or get filled immediately. Emotions like impatience, defensiveness, low grade exhaustion spill into daily life. Individual priorities gradually becoming neglected. Individuals' priorities gradually become neglected. Matters that are important start to seem urgent, while urgent matters appear important. So when people are going through all sorts of commotions, the attention is scattered and pulled into all directions. So people make bad decisions because of this. So they confuse urgency with importance, importance with urgency, and people end up making adding to this maladaptive life form that we are currently contributing to. This results in a gradual depletion of clear judgment and energy. So this results in a gradual depletion of clear judgment and energy. How maladaptive environment leads to maladaptive individual life. Human behavior adapts to repeated conditions. Constant urgency trains reactive thinking. Ongoing interruption weakens attention and follow through. Limited mental space reduces reflection and judgment. Over time, adaptations hardens into habit. What begins as coping gradually becomes normal behavior. So, how maladaptive environment leads to maladaptive individual life? So, human behavior adapts to repeated conditions. It's called priming or conditioning. Constant urgency trains reactive thinking. So, constantly, when people think that everything requires people's input, opinion, something, and people do it, a lot of people do it for cloud chasing into this time. So, end up doing, what they end up doing is to themselves or to the environment, because what is environment? Environment is everything that is ambiently present, that is present. Like for example, I am a part of environment of this room. I am also part of environment of my nation, then world, then culture, subculture, then community, this and that. So the way I'm going to behave or the way you are going to behave will become the constant behavior. Constant urgency trains reactive thinking. Ongoing interruption weakens attention and follow through. So, ongoing interruption weakens attention and follow through. So, people, they are jumping from one event to other event to other event to other event, constantly jumping. So, this causes issues because there is no coherent, there is no cohesive thoughts in people. There's always fragmented and scattered thoughts that people try to make their identity due to conditioning. Limited mental space reduces reflection and judgment. So when people's head is filled with all these ideas, all these thoughts, all sorts of crazy things. So their personal space, it gets like overcrowded, limited mental space. So actual mental space is limited, and overcrowded thoughts from all sorts of events that, like, for example, I'm sitting in my room right now. There's a lot of things are happening in my country right now, my city, state, in my neighborhood. But if I constantly interact with those things, I will have no personal space. So this is the state right now with people. There's all sorts of things are going on, and people are constantly flipping through, scrolling. They are doing all sorts of things, and they are picking sides. They have opinions and all stuff, and that is the entirety of their mental space. They don't have their own mental space to let's say, if people are in groups, there's a community on WhatsApp, on Telegram, this and that. People have identity diffusion, people have thoughts diffusion, there's hierarchical thinking, there's all sorts of mob thinking going on, especially in these anarchical so-called cults. People think that that's the greatest thing. This is exactly what's going on with them. So what begins as coping gradually becomes normal behavior. So people try to cope with the reality, but the environment is actually maladaptive. It is actually toxic, right? Section 2: how individuals become involved without actively choosing to. So how individuals get involved? Because as far as speaking from my personal experience, 6 years ago I interacted with a person who was presenting himself as a whole different thing, and later on, I mean, this person did not even have any identity, and I'm dealing with such people even today as well. So they present themselves as one thing. When you interact with them, when things get real, it feels like that there's only negativity, toxicity in such people, and they're trying to get rid of their toxicity by projecting it onto the people. And this can be verified. This can be verified by looking at the background of such people. People, they claim to have a lot of things, like people, they're lost in the madness has taken over the world, I would say. But let's not add into the madness. Let's try to like reduce the madness, to change, uh, or at least try to change the madness that is permeating, and to bring people back to home, so that the environment can heal. Means you are environment. So there's a song in India, it's a very famous song. I have referred to this in the old time as well. There's a lyrics there are these wordings: ओ इको फ्रेंडली, नेचर के रक्षक, मैं भी हूँ नेचर. Means people, they are mostly try to pretend to be eco-friendly, environmental friendly, right? Nature के रक्षक, protector of the nature. मैं भी हूँ nature, I'm also nature, I'm also environment. So if people, I have covered this part also, what is actually going on, what makes people to be like that. To be honest, it's not entirely people's fault, but they choose willingly, knowingly, they participated out of their own personal greed, personal attention thirst, and all sorts of things. Yeah. So, how individuals become involved without actively choosing to? It starts with trying to stay informed. So, for example, I'm not following through whatever the hell Trump is doing right now, in the Greenland issue and all stuff. And I'm not being ignorant about it. I'm choosing to not do it how other people are doing it. I keep up with these things with a non reactive way. But I can also choose to ignore certain things. I would not recommend it, but I'm just using an example here. So, what happens is people try to get informed about ongoing issues, and these issues are usually created by. I would not say that all the politicians are responsible or politics is like this or anything else. I'm not generalizing anything. I'm not putting everything under one term or everybody into one term. But usually it is witnessed, it can be verified through factual events and what is available publicly, that usually there is some sort of politician in the past 6 7 years. It's mostly political. Sometimes Boris Johnson, sometimes somebody else. I'm not saying that specifically these people are doing it, but it was witnessed, and there is verifiable facts about these people. They're causing chaos. So in terms of Boris Johnson, what was going on, the COVID was there and he was partying, he was enjoying something. So all sorts of things were happening. So there's usually something is going on, and people want to get informed. People want to follow through that what the hell is going on. So most people don't set out to live in constant reaction. They don't plan to feel mentally crowded or always switched on. It usually starts with something reasonable. People want to stay informed. Right now, Greenland stuff, Denmark, there's all sorts of things going on. And people want to be informed. And they start to research, get involved into these things. And then they start to find that this is right, this is wrong. And then soon they will find that they are picking a side, then they are fighting a fight, then they are supporting someone, opposing someone. This is what uh, causes all sorts of this thing. Maladaptive environment creates maladaptive people. Maladaptive people creates maladaptive environment. There's a term called, it's a mathematical term, it's used in your computer science as well. Coercive, not coercive, I'm skipping the term. The cycle loops itself, there's no beginning and end. So both the sides, they perpetuate this thing. A maladaptive environment creates maladaptive people. Maladaptive people create maladaptive environment and they perpetuate it. So what's the term? I'm skipping that specific term. Yeah, pardon me, but it's a specific term. They want to understand what's happening around them. They don't want to be disconnected, careless, or ignorant. So they pay attention. At first, it feels normal, even responsible. Over time, though, there's constantly something happening. There's always something happening. Something new, something urgent, something that seems to demand a response. Slowly, staying informed turns into being constantly exposed. So let's pick a time frame here, starting point. Something happened, COVID happened, and then something else happened, and something else happened, and something else happened, something else happened, something else happened. Gaza happened, Israel happened. There was all sorts of crazy wars happened. There was a brief moment where India and Pakistan were fighting. So all these things, they're constantly happening. They're constantly occurring. Yeah, that Donald Trump claims that he made that war stop. So this overcrowds people's mind, right? But this whole thing that starts from a simple curiosity, what is going on? What in the hell? What on earth is going on? Right? Reaction gets squeezed out. There are a lot of people who try to get reaction squeezed out. They follow alt right. I've seen this in the cesspools of alt right mega cults, mostly far right people who are nobody themselves and they want to be somebody. And when you look at them, you don't see anything. All you see is disruption, disturbance, all sorts of disorders, lack of things, insecurities, hatred at the core of their existence. So, what is going on with the negative environment? How negative people create negative environment? When things keep coming in without pause, reaction gets squeezed out. So people, all sorts of lunatic people who have some influence, they create this thing to get a reaction so that they can be validated. I will use once again King Trump's example. Pardon me, this is the best example I could have used. Kim Jong Un or your Chinese president's example, but they're not as crazy right now. So, word talks about the craziness that they witness more, the current craziness, that current madness, than from the past. So reaction gets squeezed out. So King Trump said that he want to take over Canada. Same country, like neighboring country, they even are part of same NATO group. They have same ideology, same background. They are Western people, and he is doing this to. He's even said that he will attack Mexico also. He even attacked Southern America. He's talking about taking thing from Greenland. He's behaving weird. So why is he doing this? Because he want the attention onto himself, and he like to get the attention for the reason to satisfy his sadism. It's not. It could be a huge plan, like Trump says. Could be strategical planning, and when people are like all sorts of these countries, wars, this and that, all sorts of strategical planning and all sorts of things, they get all sorts of reactions. But mostly, I believe Trump is doing it to get the narcissistic hit. He got narcissistic injury from different backgrounds, and to satisfy his narcissism, his sadism, he pull these things. And I'm not sure, I did not analyze it properly, don't have time, don't want to waste my time onto this, but I'm just let's say speculating. uh, I would not say observing, because observation means continuous observing, so I don't want to observe all these things. But I have better things to do, to be honest, in my day-to-day life. So, but yeah, this is what these lunatics, so-called leaders, they're doing. Thought doesn't finish, it jumps. So one day it is your Southern America, other day it's Mexico, then your Canada, then your Greenland. So all sorts of disruption is going on. So this isn't about lack of intelligence or discipline. It's what happens when attention is constantly interrupted. The environment rewards speed, visibility, and reaction. It doesn't reward patience or digestion. Actually, to be honest, the situation we are all in right now, it is much more drastic than this. But since I don't feed into doomsday conspiracies and all stuff, so I try to keep things rational and logical, and in a way problem solving, not problem creating, right? So reaction gets squeezed out from the people, unwitting people who did not want to even participate, but they end up participating because things become like the environment becomes very disrupting. Reaction becomes the default. After a while, not reacting start to feel uncomfortable. There was all sorts of videos being pushed on your Twitter and other social media, and it usually happens. There's another platform, Reddit, all sorts of platforms also there. So you come across something strange. Now you don't know what to do with that because you are not a bad person and you don't want to be seen as insensitive, or that you don't care, or what's the term? There's a term. I'm skipping that also. Sometimes I skip these terms because there's a my main language is Hindi. Yes, I think in Hindi, so I try to translate. Sometimes they click, sometimes they don't click. So sometimes this happens. Indifference. People think that don't want to be indifferent. They want to be sensible. They want to be relatable. They want to be, so they end up participating in things. After a while, not reacting start to feel uncomfortable, and feels to everybody. Nobody is exempted from this. Silence can feel like not caring, being out of touch, avoiding responsibility. People in themselves, when they constantly are bombarded with certain type of visuals, audios, all sorts of things that nobody can actually neglect, reject, it's really difficult. But still, the sane part is what I'm saying here. So people start to have this guilt, or this that they're not doing anything, avoiding responsibility, not good citizens, not good human beings. And this is natural, this is human thing, this is nothing negative, I'm saying. So people stay engaged even when they are tired, irritated, or unclear. Not because they want conflict, but because stepping back feels like letting something important slide. Right? This can be used in many different contexts. Why sides feel like relief? Now, after all this, people take sides. As things get more intense, complexity becomes exhausting. Sides offer relief. This simplify the word. So there's, everybody knows there's a left wing fight with right wing fight, and both are insane. I would say far left and far right. I'm talking about here, and they still continue their fights because right thinks that left is wrong, left is evil, demonic, satanic, and left thinks that rights are they are not even human beings. I'm speaking in general that I've read on internet. These are not my personal opinion. So yeah, so people continue this fighting. I've been observing what is going on in America and the West for well over a decade now. So I know these things. So fighting becomes like they make it about their identity. They if you see this, there are a lot of examples that I don't want to use, to be honest, because I don't want to make it controversial. I want to make it more educational. So I will skip those examples. As things get more intense, complexity becomes exhausting. Sites offer relief. They simplify the word. They reduce uncertainty. They tell you where you stand without having to think everything through. At first, this feels stabilizing, but something changes quietly. Understanding gets replaced by alignment. Things get replaced by positions. So people start from somewhere and they get dragged into all this thing. And when what they end up, where they end up being is somewhere that they were pointing out in others when they began those things. Now they are in the same mud. So there's a saying, famous saying in the West, or it's a common saying, I would say. So I don't want to use this negative term, but when you fight with a pig, what pig does is pig try to drag you into the mud, and pig enjoys living in the mud, but you get dirty. So this is the situation that people are dealing with when an environment is dirty and there's I don't want to use this term for politicians, so pardon me, but this is what is going on. People are fighting something that they are not even connected with, not authentically, not naturally, not organically. But since they have confused themselves, their false identity is false ego is based around that narrative, and this is all coercive control, I would say. But something changes quietly. Understanding gets replaced by alignment. Thinking gets replaced by positioning. Now becomes position of people, right? I can use a lot of examples, real life examples, but let's keep it to the logic here, not to the name calling. When positions turn into identity, gradually this solidifies into a sense of identity. So let's talk about Alex Jones a little bit. Alex Jones has been presenting himself as a news anchor or journalist, something. He once went into some forest, bohemian grove, something. And ever since, he has confused himself as, I'm not siding with any of these. I know the other side as well, this side as well. I'm not siding with anybody. I'm just using this thing. Now, what impact he had with this thing is he made it his identity. He jump up and down, drink alcohol and all that stuff, and he was at least presenting himself to be the good party, a more person with more empathy and more all sorts of compassion toward others. And look at the state of this person now. I'm not saying he's right, wrong, this and that. I'm not going into all that conspiracy aspect. I know that, by the way. I know the whole scenario, but I'm just using this. I'm not siding with other side as well. Since I'm not saying things about that, a lot of people think like this. I'm just saying that this is how people become part of that same ecosystem, same environment that causes the issue. When positions turns into identity, gradually this solidifies into a sense of identity. Disagreements start to feel personal. Questioning feels risky. Curiosity narrows. The question shifts from, is this actually true, to, is this what someone like me is supposed to think? This shift usually happens without anyone noticing it happen, because people are lost with the ego wars, with the identity protection and all stuff. It's a whole mess, difficult to put in words even. Yeah, the cost shows up in daily life. The cost doesn't show up as ideology, it shows up in daily life. Mental fatigue that doesn't go away, shorter patience, constant low level tension, less space for ordinary things. People don't feel empowered by this, they feel trapped inside a constant relevance. All sorts of movements going on, um, all sides included, and people take great pride. A few years ago, when Trump first came in power, let's criticize the left a little bit here. So there was a neo-feminist agenda going on. There were neo-feminists. What was this news and some video on YouTube? So right wing was humiliating them. That they wanted to prove that how stupid these people are. So they were squeezing reactions out of the left wing, and the left wing people, usually these young adult women, they used to react without even knowing, without even, I mean, if you look into all the ontology, the reality, not the propaganda narrative or reaction based, all that crap that people usually use, right wing use on left wing and left wing use on right wing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the reality, actual reality, ontological reality. In that ontological reality, when you see this, so people, they usually fight their identity fights, their ideological fights. But what they end up doing is they end up spending their life force energy, that after some time makes them land nowhere. This does not help develop their own life. And people, they don't understand this thing. There's a descriptive explanation of this thing, why Buddhists usually avoid conflicts. Avoid not in the sense that they are scared, or no, they know, because once you know, a crazy person does crazy things. A crazy person calls it courage. A person with wisdom, a wise person, do wise things. This is the difference between a crazy person and a wise person. But the crazy person always thinks that he's the wisest person, and the wise person thinks that maybe he's a fool. And that's what balances. Because if you are, I'm not saying fool in the sense that in negative ways to dehumanize yourself. No, fool in the sense as a first time learner. So there's a whole descriptive explanation for this for other videos. So this does not require bad intentions. This does not require bad intentions or secret control. Systems built around attention and incentives function on their own. People participate simply while living inside them. Noticing this isn't about blame, it's about understanding how involvement becomes automatic. That's where choice can start to return. So, a lot of people, this is the, how do you call it? This is a known pattern in all the civilizations, that people become involved with whatever environment is present. If you go back a few years, centuries, the environment was very different, but everybody was behaving like that, right? If you see in the Western, they had different tonality, they had different mannerism. If you see in the East, we had different tonality, different mannerism, different attires. Right now the environment is different. So if we keep this environment negative and we think that that's the greatest thing, that is the cause of all the issues. Not one person, not one party, although they are active participants who are promoting this thing, and they are to be blamed, to be honest, but not in a crazy way. But when the environment itself becomes toxic, how to reverse it? Section 3, the Lucifer effect: why ordinary people gradually lower values and pull others along. I will cover this part in the next presentation, on next live stream. This can happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I'm busy with. Yeah, I want to give a few updates about my robot that I was building. Actually, what happened is robot requires a lot of 3D printing parts to put together, and I did not have access to a 3D printer. So what I did is I started to build a 3D printer. So I'm stuck with that. I will continue my robotic stuff once I will. It's a really difficult task to build a 3D printer from scraps. There's a lack of resources, I would say, about certain things. Not a lot, but the most basic things. And at top of all that, 3D printing requires 3D printed parts as well. So there's that as well. So I'm stuck, but I'm moving forward with that. So that's why I did not continue with my 3D printer. Sorry, this robotic live stream. I will continue with this once I I'm I come up with a functional 3D printer to print at least the most basic parts. It's a learning curve. It's a lot of efforts. Takes a lot of time. So pardon me for that, for discontinuing it or having this much gap for that. Yeah, so I will cover the Lucifer effect, why ordinary people gradually lower values and pull others along, in the next live stream that I will stream most probably tomorrow or day after. I will try to finish it within 7 days, coming 7 days, let's say. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel to go to the real cause of the problem, not some conspiracy, not some biased, hate filled, this and that, all sorts of madness. If you want to do that, you love attention, you love cloud chasing, you love all sorts of things, you can do whatever you want. The whole internet is there. You can become like that, enjoy doing that. These are short lived experiences. In the end, everybody regrets doing unwholesome things, and if not openly, secretly. The actions, unwholesome actions, punish them. So there's no conspiracy in this. So Buddhism is a very wisdom based ancient system of India. Those people are not messing around with stupid things, they are not misleading anybody. So yeah, I follow Buddhism personally, that's what I'm saying. And people who, there are all sorts of things. I'm not saying that everything else apart from Buddhism is wrong. No. For example, if we talk in terms of Western stuff, so science is the most the thing that makes most sense to me is science and psychology. There's also, if we go into this esotericism and all stuff that I don't really follow from the West, but there are some philosophies from the West, a little bit Rosicrucianism, although it has a lot of hubris based things. I did not study it properly. it's still a little bit, it's more into these beings. They have modeled their stuff into. So what is this is a subject of whole different thing, but I'm saying that yeah, I have interest in Western stuff as well, but Buddhism is the best place for me, at least a person coming from Buddhist background, living in India, following Buddhism. So this is the best place for me. It may or may not be best place for you. So I'm not saying that Buddhism is the only solution, but it is quite prominent, quite uh, strong system to follow. So I should end this live stream here, and we will continue this part next time. Thanks so much. If you liked my video, subscribe to my channel, share to the people. Thank you so much.